Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeko Onyeko. The more I try to forget about this deliberate sabotage of kids from the Southeast by certain elements at joint admission and matriculation, but the more it provokes me to anger. Now, let me tell you, there's a clear and deliberate policy, state policy and program, institutionalized program to subjugate the Igbo and keep us down, enabled by a majority of the political bandits from the Southeast. Most of the political office holders from the South are cowards, massive cowards. Go to the Northeast and see the way Zulum has been blasting. Go to the Northwest, you see the way they blast. Our own people, they are always trying to lick asses, lick speckling human beings who are trying to be the back carriers of other political office holders from other regions of Nigeria. Deliberate effort. Now, let me tell you even how wicked this thing is. On what basis do we have a higher cutoff mark for kids from the Southeast more than most other kids from other regions? These kids were born under the same country, the same passport, under the same socio-economic condition, under the same suffering hell that we have here in Nigeria. Yet, state policy, deliberate policy over the last 50 years, deliberate policy to increase the bar against the average Igbo kid. The average Igbo kid is expected to do 135 over 200 in federal common entrance examination to enter federal colleges, federal secondary schools. The average kid from Yobe and other places is expected to just scale the same hurdle at 4 over 200, 8 over 200. Why is this deliberate policy in place? Were those kids born in Yobe and other areas born with less gray matter cells? That is not the truth. It's a deliberate policy to scuttle and to limit the Igbo. And unfortunately, we have pliant, cowardly human beings in the political space in our Igbo who only see political office as that venue to show up their decayed and sagging economic life, who see themselves as errand boys, as being powerful, as errand boys, when they should be pushing policies. Buhari was president for 8 years. There was no single standard gauge rail project that was cited in the Southeast. They spent $196 billion to do Lagos to Ibadan, 154 kilometers. Yet they could not spend the same amount to do Port Harcourt to Enugu standard gauge rail project. All they are rehabilitating is the dead narrow gauge that takes almost about the 5 hours to do Port Harcourt to Aba. Is it that we are not waiting for tribal government? The only problem we have is that we have very useless, very cowardly, very pliant, very unthinking, very selfish, very wicked political office holders in a majority from the Southeast. Men who do. Sam Mbako was governor between 1979 and 1983. Sam was a crying governor. In MPP, MPN was at the federal level. Look at what Sam Mbako did in 4 years as governor of the old Imo state, that is made up of Imo and Abia state today. Go and look at what Sam did. These other ones are busy stealing and looting. There is no standard gauge rail project, standard gauge rail project in the Southeast. Over 60% of cargos, over 60% of cargos that come into Nigeria have their originating route from the Southeast. We will spend 15 million naira to import a 40-foot container into Nigeria. Then we will spend almost 6 million naira to move it from Apapa port to Aba and Onitsha because of bad road and dilapidated road network. When we have on airport that they've deliberately sabotaged and made expensive compared to Apapa and other places. The other day, the governor of Imo State, in their usual 419 governance arrangement, gathered the lacrimae of Ndibo and those APC people from Abuja that they are trying to do Orashi River Port. I, as a person who had been involved in this kind of project, knew that it was all a political gimmick to deceive Ndibo and deceive everybody. Because as the executive secretary of Depot Owner Association in the Orakuko axis, I knew there was an attempt to do a PPP arrangement to dredge from the escravos all the way to Ohara. And it was supposed to be handled by the biggest dredgers in Nigeria, which is actually owned by an Igbo man, Ernest Objejesi, and the former dredgers, which is now purchased by Nest Oil, our own great son, Nemeko Objejesi. The biggest dredger in Nigeria is an Igbo man. We knew to dredge from the Escarabos to Ara, which is about 27 nautical miles to Warri, was to cost tens of billions of naira. And we all know clearly to dredge from ocean, from the Atlantic coast all the way to Arashi, almost about 154 nautical miles. We cost a lot of money. We cost hundreds of millions of dollars to do the shoreline embankment, to dredge it, to put it in such an orderly way, so that we don't cause flooding in such ways that will enable us to create so much value. And we know we can easily do it under a PPP framework if the governors are sincere. Today, 2-3 years after, nobody's talking about shoreline, about Orashi River Port. Nobody's talking about Azumini River Port. Apapa Port is a river port, it's not even a seaport. We know that we can establish a seaport in a river port in Orashi under a PPP framework. We know that to do a standard gauge rail line from Lagos all the way through Ore, Shagamu, Ijebu-Ode, Asaba, Onitsha, Owerri, Port Harcourt, Seko Baka Aba, Umuahia, Okigwe, Enugu, Abakaleke, Afibo, back to Onitsha is about 817 kilometers. It will take about $5.2 billion to do this. We've shared with our governors, we've shared with our political representatives how these things can be executed under a DBOT arrangement. 45 years DBOT arrangement, 30 years DBOT arrangement. We've done the numbers. It's a rail project, a rail route that is the most lucrative. It has 200 million tons cargo traffic. It has over 300 to 500 million per annum passenger traffic. It's a rail route that can give you between 1.3 to $2.3 billion revenue annually. It's a rail route that will catalyze the development of other sectors, housing, other businesses across the route where it will pass. We are not asking the federal government to give us money. All we are asking for the political officers from the southeast to muster the political will. Ibom is doing their deep seaport. Cross River is doing their own. How come the 5 southeastern governors cannot come together to do Orashi River Port or Azumini River Port under whatever ages and guise? How come they cannot come together? I am very, very sure if the most lucrative rail route is in the west-east route, these governors can all come together and push it. Federal government is not bringing a kobo. We don't even want them to bring any kobo. We will raise the financing. We've even gone ahead to incorporate an SPV, both offshore and onshore. We've identified some of the private rail operators. The Deutsche Bank Group is the biggest private sector rail operator. They have over 304,000 people under their employment. We have the Turkish group, we have the Chinese group. We've identified a group that we're going to work together with under a DBOT arrangement. Self-financing. They don't have the political will. The governors are not serious. The local government chairmen are not serious. The political members of the National Assembly from the Southeast are not serious. They don't want to do anything that will add value to the Igbo. Look at how our kids are suffering. And none of them is raising even their voices. By now, there should be a concentrated call for Ishak Oloyede to be sacked and prosecuted. There should be a concentrated call for the dubious and incompetent Minister for Education to be sacked. But look at it. Our children are being traumatized. What offense did they commit? The only offense that they were born in the Igbo. But there is no apology. We cannot apologize for who we are. We don't need Nigeria to survive. And I tell us, we don't need any federal allocation to build up the biggest economy in Africa, in the Southeast region. I challenge anybody to controvert me. Let me tell you, we've done the numbers. We can build a $500 billion to $1 trillion economy from the 5 southeastern states within the next 10-15 years. If we decide to do it, we have the people, we have the population, we have the intellectual capacity, we have the technical know-how, we have the contacts. We can generate all the fund and equipment that we need. We need to build economic Biafra. That is what we need. And to build economic Biafra, we need to get the smartest of us in the place of power and authority. 2027 is coming. If not for Professor Nenoti, Abia State will have been still part of the rot of the PDP people. Nenoti stood her ground. Professor Nenoti refused to be compromised and to allow election results in Abia State to be doctored. Today, go and look at what Alex is doing in Abia State. Imagine if we have people like better people than even Alex Oti in other southeast states as governors, and working together selflessly like Simon Bakwe, selflessly like Michael Obara, the kind of great things that we will achieve in the southeast. We know what to do. We can do it. But the problem is that 2027 is coming. This is a challenge to Igbo. Enough of this cash and carry Babiala politics. We will look at those who have the capacity, who have the spirit, the mindset, the intelligence, the selflessness of Michael Obara and them and support them. Let me tell you, if Igbo refuse to be allowed allow themselves to be used to rig election, we will pick the best, and that best will go to Abuja and show them that we are not pushovers. If every of the returning officers at the polling centers, at the ward collection centers, at the local government collection centers, which are mostly in Igbo, are altruistic and behaved honestly like Nenoti, we won't be where we are today. Today we have a lot of 419ers, a lot of criminals parading themselves as leaders in our Igbo. People who are so happy and ready to be subservient, to carry a handbag for the mates, their mates from other places, who are even better than. I will not apologize for being on Igbo. Unapologetic. The truth is, we will rebuild Igbo. It's a matter of time. We will rebuild Igbo. And for the criminals who are being used to cause mayhem in Igbo, as unknown gunmen, as agitators, as those who create all manner of holidays, sit at home every Monday, shame on you. It's a shameful thing that you allowed yourself to be giving pittance 100 AK-47 and rocket-propelled grenades to be terrorizing your own people. There's no true freedom fighter that will hurt the people, his people, spill their blood, destroy their economy, create so much poverty in the land if they are being altruistic. There is no external bandit that can operate in Igbo if there are no internal bandits helping them to operate. There are no external kidnapper that will kidnap. There is no external terrorist herdsmen that can operate in Igbo if there are no chiefs collecting money to give them land, and if there are no local collaborators helping them to show them the route paths to our forests and how they can kidnap people. And that is the truth. We must sit down and look ourselves in the mirror. If truly we are the wisest men from the east of Nigeria, we need to show it in our actions. We need to go back to Ako Uche na Uchu. Omenala was the thing that carried us. Our fathers were so brilliant. When the white man came to Nigeria, they could not see any prison. They could not see any thief in Igbo. Today, we have all manner of bandits destroying our land. What kind of human beings are we? We need to look into the mirror. And for those of you abroad who are being used, agents of destruction, you're collecting dollar and funding urchins and giving them hope when there is no hope. What we need is economic Biafra. And like I said it, we can build a $500 to $1 trillion economy in the Southeast. We will reform and revive the education. See, our greatest asset is our education. And they practically help to reduce the quality. We need to build back education. We need to force our governors to show that 20% of every allocation and borrowing goes into education. We need to set up education trust fund in our communities, in our local government areas, in our state. In such a way that there's no child born into Igbo that should not be literate. We need to create value. I have no apology being an Igbo, and we should not apologize being Igbo. If those who are bent on subjugating us continue the way they are, shame on them, and shame on the cowards from the Southeast who cannot rise up to defend their people. 2027 is coming. Igbo rise up. We will not allow any criminal election in Igbo. We will not allow any external force, forced, spineless, dickless bandits as leaders in our land. Let us look at Professor Nonoti, follow his IQ, and do the right things. God bless you.